One. Hey guys, it's Caden. Welcome to another Autism Digest interview, where today we have an amazing topic and individual. This is a topic I've been wanting to cover on here for a while now. This individual has a very inspirational story. She rescued a husky in, I believe, 2012 specifically. And she went on to make a channel for her husky named Levi the Husky Rescue. It's boasted over 510,000 subscribers and millions of views across various platforms. She has 2 babies on the way herself. She is Chloe. Thanks for coming on, Chloe.
Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Of course. I think a lot of people might recognize you and Levi. You have hundreds upon thousands of subscribers on various platforms. But for those that may not know you, do you mind summarizing your story in your own words?
Yeah, for sure. You did a pretty good job summarizing who I am and a bit about my background. Levi, I actually rescued 4, maybe 5 years ago. He's 5 years old, so I rescued him 4 years ago. He was a dog found in Iran and flew across the world to Canada, where I picked him up and obviously immediately, fell head over heels in love with him. I was only meant to foster him, and I ended up adopting him 24 hours later because I loved him so much. And since then, he's been my best friend, my rock. He's been with me through so many major milestones in life, from finding my now husband. He was at our wedding. He was part of our pregnancy announcement. He's been truly such a huge positive impact on my life. So yeah, I started sharing him on social media about 1.5 years ago, and I was overwhelmed by the positive response and how many people loved him and his quirks as much as I do. And I get so much joy in sharing, the joy that he brings me with everybody else online and giving them a good laugh. So that's kind of the context.
And it's amazing.
Thank you.
I started watching your video around May of this year. You're possibly August. I don't know the exact date, but thank you for sharing that joy. My next question for you is, do you have any experiences interacting with the autism community that you want to talk about?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have quite a few experiences. One of my sister is intellectually disabled, which in turn means a lot of her friends are on the spectrum. My husband's number one employee, one and only employee in his company, is actually an autistic individual who's lived with us for quite a few months. And I've got to witness a wonderful bond develop between him and Levi that they still have to this day. So certainly surrounded by neurodivergent individuals closely in our lives.
That's amazing. I'm always saying, hey, this is one of my favorite things about what I do on this platform, because you never know who you're going to meet and who has had experiences interacting with the autism community, even if they're small. My next question for you is, you are a pet influencer. You've gotten hundreds upon thousands of subscribers. From your perspective, how can owning an animal help neurodivergent individuals who might have a hard time socializing learn to make social connections?
Yeah, I think it's a really great question. And there's actually numerous ways that animals, maybe dogs specifically, I can speak to or attest to, can certainly help neurodivergent individuals make friends and start new friendships. As someone who has kind of social anxiety myself, I can almost relate to a certain degree what it might feel like to feel awkward in crowd settings or even like one-on-one interactions with friends. And I've found bringing Levi to social interactions has certainly helped with my social anxiety, but in various different ways. So I'll give you a couple of examples. My first date with my husband, I was really nervous. I didn't want to meet with him one-on-one. I just felt so awkward in that situation. What will we talk about? Will we have any common interests? I was really nervous. So I made it like a group date where we'd have multiple friends and, there was buffer. But then on the second date, we had to hang out one-on-one. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what we'll talk about. What will the activity be? I was really, really nervous. And so I decided to take Levi for a hike with him. And doing that kind of just gave us an activity that was on just very like neutral grounds. And having Levi there kind of filled in the awkward silences or, made me feel so much more comfortable. It gave us something to talk about. Again, something to do. We're out and about hiking, walking the dog. So it just felt like such a kind of like more calm experience and really helped take the edge off. And I imagine that for individuals who have much stronger social anxieties, having a dog there is such a benefit because it gives you something to talk about and something to do. And it just kind of takes the pressure and the edge off. But there are other ways that having a dog or an animal in your life can help you make friends. When I moved to this brand new town, I didn't know a single person at all. Like I went completely by myself with Levi. And one thing that became part of our routine was our walking trail that we went on and going to the dog park. And in these two, very dog focused environments, I was able to meet people and make friends because I could almost expect, what times and what days these people would show up to the dog park. And having that like common interest, that's kind of a third way that dogs specifically can, or really any animal, but for me, dogs helps to make friends is having like an immediate common interest or like common grounds to talk to people about, something that you have a shared interest in. So, so many people have dogs, and if they don't have dogs, they love dogs. And it's such an easy conversation starter when you're out with your dog for people to ask, what's their name? What breed are they? How old are they? And it's just a really easy icebreaker. So I think they're just, if I could like summarize it, a great way to start conversations with people, meet new people, and make those interactions with, that could otherwise be awkward. It makes them, a lot more comfortable.
You brought up a lot of really good points, and I absolutely agree with that perspective. Having a routine, knowing exactly what you'll expect from a social interaction, especially if there's animals involved, can be especially helpful for neurodivergent and autistic individuals. Eliminating the awkwardness. As an autistic individual myself, I've had several situations where there has been a form of social awkwardness and interactions. And I find starting a conversation about a common interest, say animals, or basically anything random. For example, recently I went to a personal family gathering and I started a conversation with someone and specifically about one of the pictures that was on their display, and it led to a relationship. So you brought up a lot of good points, which leads me to the next question I have for you. As an upcoming new mother, what do you hope to teach your children about respect, empathy for autistic individuals, or anyone for that matter, and similar topics?
It's a really good question. I've put a lot of thought into motherhood and how I want to raise my children. And I think one of the most important things for me, to bring back a little bit of context, I know I said earlier that, my sister was disabled, and I had a really hard time going and growing up with her and watching her be bullied by people who weren't, of course, neurodivergent or on the spectrum or just, quote unquote, normal kids. And that was really heartbreaking for me. So I want my kids to, understand the struggles that people who are different than them might have to go through. Be patient, very patient when somebody else is not understanding what's happening or what they're saying. And of course, most of all, respect everyone, no matter who they are or what they do. I want them to, always show up with the same level of respect for everybody. Yeah.
That's a really great answer to that. I absolutely agree that everything starts within the home. I was bullied myself in high school. Has a lot of individuals are neurodivergent or not. And my belief, looking back at it, is something happened, but I was exposed to an external factor, some form of negativity or a controversial figure, and their heads are like sponges. They soak that in and mimic it in a way. So that's definitely a great lesson to have, especially now in today's divided society. My last question for you is, apart from the upcoming birthday of your children, what does the future hold for you?
It's also a really good question. I wish I had the answer. I wish I had all the answers. All I can tell you is what the next few days, I think, hold for us. I mean, I certainly would love to continue sharing, my dogs online for people to enjoy. Motherhood, I'm really looking forward to. Um, uh, Hopefully just more of what we've had, more, happiness and joy and good luck and blessings. Um, I wish I had a clear-cut answer as to exactly what the future was going to hold, but if it could be more of like what life is right now, I'd be very happy.
That's definitely a nice way to put it. That's honestly the joy of the future. You never know what's going to happen. Anyways, that's going to do it for this interview, guys. Thank you so much to Chloe for coming on and sharing her story. If you guys want to see more amazing interviews, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the Autism Digest channel. Be on the lookout for our upcoming issue that comes out in November by going to autismdigest.com, and stay tuned for the audio file to be posted on our Spotify. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.